Hey team, Master Schiele here. Today I want to do an end of the year wrap up for us martial artists. Why do an end of the year wrap up? Well, it's very simple. We do an end of the year wrap up to make sure we can improve ourselves moving into the next year. Let's get started. So I don't know about you, but I know about me, and we all have this internal voice. What is this internal voice? This is our internal voice that is constantly speaking to us. It is the one that makes us accomplish incredible things. However, it's also the one that forces us to sometimes, if we listen to it the wrong way, sit on the couch and be lazy and just do nothing positive for ourselves, right? So that internal voice is constantly speaking to us. And it's important that we learn how to keep that voice in check. By keeping that voice in check, it's going to always allow us to accomplish the most incredible things in our lives. So here's something that we do in our school here. And I teach this, instructors this so they can actually do this with all of our students. We have a technique called praise, correct, praise. What that means is if a student is doing a technique wrong, we praise something that they're doing right, we correct what they were doing wrong, and then we finish with a praise. This is very important because if they only hear the negative, we naturally are drawn to the negative. What are you doing wrong? Not what we're doing right, but what are you doing wrong? And we eventually, if a student hears that too many times, it makes them feel very demotivated. They don't feel inspired, and eventually they might not even train anymore, right? So it's important, and this is just a technique just for everything in life, right? So what happens is, if a student, let's say they're doing a punch the wrong way, right? Maybe they're punching like this, but they got great spirit. I gotta find something, I gotta be a good finder, I gotta find something good in what they're doing. So let's say my student name is Johnny. I'm gonna say, Johnny, I love your spirit. You are gonna have such a strong punch. Here's what I want you to do. You're punching like this. I need you to correct it and punch straight out. And you know what? Let me see that. Oh, that looked awesome. Give me 5. Keep doing that. You got this. What did Johnny hear? He heard how awesome he did. I disguised the correction with a praise, correct, and then I finished with that praise. Now, could you imagine the opposite of it? Oh, your punches are horrible. You can't do this. You might have good intention while you speak this way. Stronger, harder. You're not doing it right. But what happens by doing it that way is your student never feels motivated. And here's the truth. Our internal voice speaks to us the same way. We always hear the negative. And remember, that voice never stops talking. So if we listen to it and we don't keep it in check and make it say the right things to us, it's going to put us into a negative state, right? Just like if I had that student Johnny and I only told him what he was doing wrong and not giving him something to be inspired about, he's not going to feel inspired to even try anymore, right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to hear a couple categories for a martial artist, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a praise, we're going to do a correct, and then we're going to do a praise getting into the new year. So here's the first thing. I want to discuss your training, just your training in general. What I want you to do with that is I want you to think about one thing in your training that you have done incredible this year. Maybe you had an injury and you said, you know what, I'm going to do what I can during this injury because I'm not going to allow this injury to get the best of me, all right? Maybe you had a really hard time because you had some life changes happening and you had a hard time making it to class, but you trained as hard as you could when you were not in class, all right? So I want you to just praise yourself on something in your training, okay? Now what we're gonna do is I want you to think about one thing that you can do better moving forward, okay? So for example, maybe I really liked the way I was training and I was really focusing on my stretching, so that was really great. My stretching is really solid. However, whenever it came to the endurance part of my training, I think I could work on that a little bit. So great stretching, I need to work on my endurance. Now, we need to finish with a praise, okay? Now, here's what happens for our internal voice. I'm gonna do something as soon as I possibly can so I can start this. Now, what happens is we have a little goal, we set that, and you're gonna finish on this positive note, right? You can't just talk, you need to do something, right? Your voice will never lie to you. Remember that, your voice will never lie to you. If you say, I'm gonna lose weight next year, your voice knows the truth. You know the truth deep down. Are you really going to? Do you have a plan? Or are you just saying that, right? Are you saying, I'm going to get in shape this new year? Are you? What's your plan for that? You cannot lie to yourself. You have to be truthful. But here's what happens. You can be truthful, but make an action, right? I need more endurance, so here's what I'm gonna do. At 5 o'clock today, I'm gonna hit the jump rope and I'm gonna do it. Now, when you do that and you make that promise to yourself, what just happened? You got better. You just proved to yourself that you have this, and you know what? You have that momentum moving forward. So, the first thing is our training. Something that you did great, something you need to work on, and then I want you to have a call to action right now, okay? When are you gonna start improving it? Don't wait till next year, all right? Start now, start as soon as you possibly can. Let's hit the next category. So the next category is this, mental state, okay? How motivated have you been? So let's hear something positive first, right? Maybe you were in that situation where you had an injury. Hey, I stayed as positive as I possibly could. I'm proud of myself. Good, okay? Now, what can we do moving forward, okay? What's something that you can improve on mental state? Here's something that I realized for myself. I get in this mode where I get hangry. I don't know about you, but hangry is a big thing for me, right? If I'm not eating, I'm just not thinking strong. So I have to look at the clock. I literally have to look at the clock and be proactive with that, because if I eat, I stay in a better positive state of mind. If I don't eat, I just don't feel as good as I possibly could. So what happens is, I know that's something I had struggled with, right? When that blood sugar starts dropping, I'm not thinking straight. So what happens is, I have that, right? And now what you do is, you're gonna have whatever it is for you, all right? So your training, your mental state, where have you been? Have you been positive about everything? Okay, find something good. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna find something we can improve on, okay? For me, it was, hey, I know I get hangry, so I don't wanna get myself in that state of mind. And then I had that call of action by actually looking at the clock and focusing on that. And it's really for you, whatever you think works for you in that moment, right? So what can you improve on moving forward mentally, right? Something that, that internal voice, we need to, again, keep that voice in check. All right, now, here's what we're gonna do. The last thing is, I wanna hit some huge accomplishments that you hit this year. Maybe this was the first year you started martial art training. Fantastic, this is a great year. Maybe I had a student, they were out of tournaments for a long time, and they decided to get back into the tournament circuits this year. And by the way, did awesome by doing that. You know what? Huge accomplishment, right? Maybe you had that injury, right? I always go back to the injuries, because injuries are one of those things that really can get in the way. So we need to be proactive when those happen, right? Maybe you had that injury and you said, you know what? I got into the class, I stayed in the back, I did some stretching when I couldn't do what was happening in the class. You know what? Fantastic. That is awesome. That is a fantastic thing. We have to really get ourselves in that state, okay? Now, here's what I want you to do. Whatever overall, those things that we hit this year, what I want you to do is we're gonna collectively think about those, have that good momentum going forward. Now, what do you wanna see yourself doing this year moving forward? What do you wanna see? Do you wanna see yourself in the best shape of your life? Great, set a plan. Do you wanna see yourself more flexible than ever before? Great, start a plan. Do you want to see yourself really lose weight and get yourself to the next place? Guess what? Make a plan, right? You don't just lose weight by thinking about losing weight. You got to be proactive with it. You got to do something about it, right? Whatever it is, we need to set ourselves moving forward in the future. By setting ourselves for the future, we are going to be the top of our game always. Now remember, you can't lie to yourself. So here's what I want you to do. Right now, whatever you want to see yourself doing in the future and moving forward into our new year, I want you to write it down. If you want to, hit it in the box below. Hit a comment. Throw it out to the world. Say, I am holding myself accountable that I'm going to do this. And you know what? What's going to happen? You'll accomplish it. I know you will. But you got to be proactive with it. So, positive. I want you to praise. I want you to think about what you need to correct moving into the new year, and then I want you to finish with that praise, but I want you that call of action as well, Remember, you don't have to wait till next year to start. You can start right now. You can start today. The worst thing I think people do is they go, I'm gonna eat healthier. Good, when's your next meal? Start now. Don't wait. No, this is my last meal. Start now. Why do you need to wait? You don't need to. But it's the state of mind what happens, right? Put that stake in the ground. You got this. I really appreciate everyone this year. We've hit some huge milestones in our YouTube channel here, and I want to thank you guys for that. And I also want to thank my students for really being there, being a part of everything that we do here. We're all big family, all us martial artists, whether you're my student or not, we're a big martial art family. And I thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you on our next one. Take care.